happens. Brian Yanis, always good to see you. Thank you outside Trump Tower. A judge in Michigan is expected to rule on when the recount in that state will begin. Interesting timing, as the head of the Green Party, candidate Jill Stein, has just changed her tactic in Pennsylvania. She has now dropped the case to force a recount there in state court and decided to take it to a federal court instead. President-elect Donald Trump reacted with a tweet. The Green Party just dropped its recount lawsuit in Pennsylvania and is losing votes in Wisconsin recount. Just a Stein scam to raise money. That's his tweet. Jill Stein is responding to claims about where millions of dollars raised for the recount are actually going. Watch.
Let's be very clear. This money is going strictly into a segregated account which can only be spent on the recount. So this money is will be completely used, and we'll be lucky if we can cover the costs.
Elizabeth Fran now has more from Washington. So, Elizabeth, what is Jill Stein's response to the tweet from Donald Trump and other critics?
Well, from what we hear, and today we did see her on Twitter, she's energized, she's pushing forward. She says there would be no difference if her efforts, if Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton won the presidency. She also says there's no coincidence she's urging recounts in Michigan and Wisconsin, two states with very tight margins. Her argument is she's protecting the civil and voting rights of all Americans.
This is about responding to the American voters who are standing up and saying we deserve an election system that we can trust and that is accurate, that is secure against hacking, against human error, against machine error, and that in which the votes are being counted. Because right now, it's not clear that all the votes are being counted. We deserve that, so we can go forward with an election system that we can trust.
And we will certainly learn more about her efforts at the federal level tomorrow at her planned press conference in front of Trump Towers. Harris?
Yeah, and, you know, I'm sure people have asked her kind of what the end game is. I'm curious to know now. We're talking about Pennsylvania, but what's the latest with the other states as well?
Right, we haven't been talking about them in the past 24 hours. In Michigan, where we've seen the opposition from the state's attorney general, as well as representation for the president-elect, that review could begin as early as this week. Right now, we're waiting on a federal judge in Detroit who will decide if the recount can begin right away or if election officials have to wait 2 business days to get started. The ballots must be hand-counted, and Harris, there are more than 4.5 million ballots. Election officials in Wisconsin have already begun recounting votes, while they are facing legal challenges from Trump backers, so there's really a battle on all fronts. But at this point, we're really hearing the Trump team say, let's just move on.
I'd say to her, give it up, as it seems like you're doing in Pennsylvania for a very simple reason. Even your friends in the Clinton campaign have admitted that these recounts will not change any results. So the question for Jill Stein and Hillary Clinton and those who just are still in the grief, anger, and denial stages, will you start moving over to acceptance and let this president-elect and vice president-elect get on with the business of government, have a peaceful transfer of power?
And with all this, there's a deadline when federal law says presidential recounts must be completed within 35 days after an election, and Harris, that's December 13th.
I know, it's already the 4th.
Wow. It's going so quickly.
It is, and a little bit later in this hour, too. Thank you, Elizabeth. We'll get into, with our Fox Report interview with our guests, into really the end game for Dr. Stein and also what any of this really matters in the big picture. Right now, President-elect Donald Trump is facing a tough decision. Who will he choose as Secretary of State?